And an investigation into a shocking allegation that a crucial jobs report was manipulated to make President Obama look good just before the 2012 presidential election. It was actually a month before Election Day. Labor Department came out with a report, you may remember this, showing a huge drop in the unemployment rate. It went from 8.1 down to 7.8 from August to September, just a couple of months before the big day. It was a huge boost at the time for the president because it looked like maybe the jobs market was starting to turn around. Some people believe that it did in the ensuing months. It became a major talking point for the remaining 30 days of the campaign. Take a look.
This morning, we found out that the unemployment rate has fallen to its lowest level since I took office.
After losing about 800,000 jobs a month when I took office, our businesses have now added 5.2 million new jobs over the past 2.5 years.
On Friday, we found out the unemployment rate has fallen from the height of 10% down to 7.8%, the lowest since I took office.
We created 5 million jobs, gone from 800,000 jobs a month being lost, and we are making progress.
Wow, interesting to look back at that, right? So the Census Bureau has now asked the Inspector General to look into these allegations, and the House Oversight Committee is planning an investigation on its own. Here's Chairman Darrell Issa.
We want to know whether or not there's a problem at Census, and that problem is serious, even if it's one actor. But certainly if the controls aren't there to make sure there's a check and balance, we take seriously the responsibility not just for the every 10-year census, but for month after month in which those numbers are critical to our economy and even a ripple effect to the rest of the world. So we'll investigate it, we'll get to the bottom of it, and if it goes like so many other investigations, Jay Carney will at the end of the day be wrong.
Stephen Hayes is a senior writer for the Weekly Standard and a Fox News contributor. Steve, good morning. What's the suggestion? What do they think happened here?
Well, it's an interesting story, first reported by the New York Post. And there are basically two allegations. The first concerns this jobs report in September. And the Post columnist who wrote about this used an anonymous source and said this person says that there is evidence that that jobs report was indeed manipulated, and says he's willing to talk to the Labor Department or Congress to actually prove that, to actually share what he knows about it. There's a second allegation. A named person, Julius Buckman, somebody who worked for the Census Bureau, has admitted to fabricating data going back to 2010. Julius Buckman no longer works for the Census Bureau, left in 2011, but says that he was instructed by superiors to fabricate the data to fill in some gaps. So both of those, I think, extremely serious charges that definitely need to be looked into.
I'll say, indeed they are. And you think about Jack Welch, the former chairman, of course, of GE, who came out right when those numbers came out and tweeted that he thought those numbers couldn't possibly be true, that there couldn't possibly have been that move month to month from that August to September. He had to sort of, kind of back off those comments, and now it's looking like he might have been right.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I remember when those jobs reports came out. Certainly, we talked about it here. We talked about it on Special Report and elsewhere. I mean, it seemed to be an anomalous jobs report. Everybody was sort of scratching their heads. What does this mean? How could it have fallen that much? It was more than just the labor force participation rate falling. But nobody could come up with a good explanation at the time. I think we're a long way before concluding that something like that did happen, that there was deliberate manipulation. I mean, we have to fill in a lot of gaps. But it's certainly interesting that this columnist at the Post says that he has this source who has information, who's willing to talk to Congress about it, willing to share that information. Certainly deserves further investigation.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like it does. Steve, thank you very much.
Thanks, Martha.